Hello everyone, this is Janoto, and welcome back to another Let's Play Total War Warhammer. Today we are starting another Vampire Count campaign. I decided to actually play this campaign on very hard instead of normal. So, let's introduce the Vampire Counts. The vampires have ever been a plague upon the living, and none more so than the Von Carsteins, an abominable bloodline of undead nobles from the deathly realm of Sylvania. They inevitably strike out from this region at the head of a mighty undead host, power-hungry necromancers, zombie hordes, ranks of skeletons, tomb-skulking crypt ghouls, and bestial vargulfs are just some of the nightmares a vampire lord can summon to his indomitable will. Vlad was the primogenitor of the Von Carstein line, but Mannfred was equally feared, finally being brought to bay at Hellfen and slain. But what is no longer living is never easy to kill. Mannfred has risen again. The dead have never rested easily in Sylvania, and now they lurch from their graves, summoned to unlife by the midnight aristocracy as Mannfred prepares to challenge mankind once more. He is the eternal emperor, the usurper. Call friends will learn this at a great cost, and all the living will pay tribute to Von Carstein's unholy majesty. Alright, so let's introduce the top units. We have Vargulfs, which are single unit monsters that basically destroy everything in its path. We have the Terrorgeists, which are flying monsters that will swoop in and break up enemy lines, and they have a ton of armor, decent melee attack. They do produce poison when they attack, and also very good weapon strength, so that's usually good against armored units, so mostly very good against chaos. Vargulfs are slightly less effective, but they are still very effective against armor. And then they have the Hex Wraiths, which are ethereal cavalry that causes terror, and I don't know a whole lot about them, but I assume that they're pretty good units for charging enemies. Alright, so let's look at some of the faction mechanics. Can only capture territories belonging to other Vampire Counts factions or any humans except for Norska. We can raise dead from the dead in any province. Famous battle sites provide bonuses to the quality of options available. And corruption, vampiric corruption can be spread in enemy territory, leading to public order problems and even vampiric rebellions. So, vampiric corruption is very important to this faction. It allows us to actually hold provinces and stabilize them more if there's a lot of corruption. If we don't have enough corruption, that will actually lead to public order badness. Anyways, let's see. So our victory objectives for the short campaign victory: we need to destroy the Empire and make sure that chaos only resides in the Chaos Wastes, and ensure that Archaon, the Ever-Chosen, is in a wounded state. So we need to defeat Archaon, destroy all his armies, and make sure that they only stay in the Chaos Wastes. And maintain 12 provinces. And long campaign victory is basically the same thing, with the exception that you have to also destroy the Dwarves and Bretonnia. So, we'll aim for the 12 provinces first, and then, we'll make our way out to potentially destroying the Dwarves and Bretonnia, depending on how the game kind of goes. Alright, so that's those sections over there, and then we have the play style. Strong battle magic options, including raising dead of new units from the dead. Units cause fear, impacting enemy leadership, crumbling instead of routing, so our units don't run away, they just crumble when they get scared, so they just, you just lose units that way. And then some battle casualties are automatically raised from the dead post-battle even defeat, and we have no missile units. So we'll continue. We'll enable the introduction. So Mannfred Von Carstein is our faction leader. He is basically all of the things. He's melee fighter, leader, wizard. He can do all of the cool things. So he has both necromantic skills and also just wizardry skills. So over here we have it set to very hard already. And because he is the leader, he gets the Vargulf, some Fellbats, and some Crypt Ghouls to start. And then we also have Heinrich Himmler, master of the lore of vampires. So he is, I believe, a necromancer. And his description is, he Heinrich Kemmler burns with the need for power. Having recognized the limits that mortality placed upon him in his early years, Kemmler made it his life's work to escape them. He plunged into the world of necromancy as a young man, and by the time he had reached his 40th year, he was able to raise entire graveyards of corpses to do his bidding. Kemmler became a great and much feared necromancer, plundering every wizard's tower and ancient temple he could find in search for dark truths. His star was in the ascendant for many decades until ambitious rivals united to bring him down to his knees. Although he finally managed to scatter his attackers with a great battle of confusion, Kemmler's body was broken and his mind blasted in the battle. For many years, Heinrich wandered as little better than a half-sane beggar. By some quirk of fate, he uncovered the tomb of a long-dead Chaos champion, whose burial mound was so magnificent it towered high above him. Here, Kemmler struck a terrible pact with the gods. They restored him to his former power, and in return, Heinrich swore to slay and destroy in their name. Now the name of Leichmeister once again strikes terror into the hearts of ordinary folk. Alright, so then, our faction leader, before rising to his current power, Mannfred Von Carstein avoided the infighting of his peers and instead traveled far and wide, seeking to deepen his knowledge of necromantic lore. He made unholy pilgrimages to ancient tomes and cities where he wrested forbidden secrets from bone-dry scrolls made from human skin, studied ancient spells in the first of the books of the dead, and struck foul bargains with powerful, long-dead beings. When Mannfred finally returned to Sylvania, he was more powerful than ever, and he took over the undead legions in the wake of his insane predecessor's destruction. Though previously he had traveled in the guise of an imperial lord, now at the height of his power, his appearance had become more horrifying. His face became contorted and corpse-like, and his scalp writhing with magical energy. Yet his newfound powers are not enough, and he thirsts for ever more as part of his designs for the imperial throne. Alright, so that was a lot of reading. Alright, so for settings, we will keep the advisor help to low. Keep these settings here. And then we shall start the campaign with the introduction of the vampires.
War is eternal. As inevitable as the grave. The old world, the rotting corpse within. Some fools think it worth saving. But there are beings who wish to bring about an eternal night. I am a bearer of lore to those with such power. Vampire counts of the Von Carstein bloodline. My master, Mannfred, has returned from the dead once more. He marches on the Von Carstein ancestral pile of Castle Dragonhof. For I have brought him ill news that a master necromancer has claimed the fortress as his own. Mannfred must retake his ancient stronghold, and either destroy the usurper within, or bind him to his will.
Feeble witch, come hence from mine fortress, and kneel before thy lord. Drakenhof stones are bound by mortar of mine own blood, while yours shall be sprayed across the battlefield as I wrench the head from thine shoulders.
Your forces begin their attack, my lord. See for yourself.
Alright. And the siege begins. all the skeleton warriors defending this wall. But you can also see our siege towers marching slowly towards the designated area. Lots of fellbats.
Be sure to join the fight yourself. The warriors will be greatly inspired by...
Oh, sorry.
I serve me.
And keep on marching. Victory points, 60. See, Von Carstein is doing his thing. Those are our allied fellbats. As we march forward with our grave guards of justice.
Remember, as you fight, that help and advice is available at your request, my lord. You may rely upon it.
These fellbats are duking it out with our crypt horrors. And the fellbats are losing decisively. Excellent.
To battle, join the fray. Show them that the Von Carstein once again stalks Sylvania.
Von Carstein is back to take our lands from you imposters. 2 arms! 2 arms! Oh, he just kicked him in the soul of his body. Oh my goodness, look at that melee combat right there. So the reason why we're redoing the campaign on very hard is because...
Attack the sides and the rear of the enemy where possible. We will crumble to dust if surrounded.
Is because it's just more interesting to play it on very hard. We had gone through a little bit of the normal campaign, and I figured, you know what? Why not try it all again on very hard? It will be a little bit different. I think there are some additional penalties
Press home your advantage. Grind them to dust.
That might artificially make it harder, but it's also possible that the AI might be more advanced. Hopefully they don't just have like random buffs that make them incredibly overpowered, because that would be lame. That would not be fun at all. Oh look, the Vargolf! The giant killer!
Be sure to take charge of the forces you control, sire. Effective command of your army is a skill worth mastering.
Alright, so we have the Vargolf here. Oh, and they've just crumbled to dust. Excellent. Alright, so now we're gonna march in to the castle. We are getting shot by this fort tower, but it matters little. Look at him just charge right through like he owns the place with very strong binding. There we go. Show them what we're made out of, Von Carstein. Or Mannfred. Alright, we're just gonna push through this gate, and these guys should crumble very soon.
Unleash your mightiest spells against the enemy, Dark Lord.
Alright, we're gonna keep charging forward.
These lands are mine.
We can invocate to heal our units, or we can cast a spell against the wizard. Oh well, we can actually cast it against anyone, but this is more of a single target spell. So using that on the what is it called? Zombies was a waste, but we just wanted to kind of show you how that all worked. Or just how the spell looks. Oh, they got some Vargeist here, so those are very powerful, monstrous flying units.
Your words and actions can inspire the troops before you. Use your influence and abilities.
Alright, you want me to heal some of my units here that are charging through the gate? So Vargeists are great for disrupting enemy formations, and they're also pretty powerful in their own right. So definitely good to have them in your army. They're like slightly less awesome than, let's say, the, what's it called? Than the Terrorgeist, which is our most elite units. If we look at the data tree right here, right now we're terrifying them with our amazing leadership. You can see that they have, okay, totally missed that. They do enough damage where they're worth getting on the campaign map. Also because they fly, they can be pretty useful. Let's see, we have our Grave Guards coming through with the rest of our army in rank. As you can see here, everyone's ready. We're gonna cast our spell on the... Whoa, no, the White King is our allies.
Then Kruger joins the battle. He fights amidst his mounting troops.
So you can see here, we're pushing straight in for victory. The White King is our ally. Alright, who else are we killing here? Oh, those are also our allies. So there's only the enemy Necromancer here that's very hard to see. So we're just dueling him to death. So everyone's kind of just hitting him right now. He won't last long. Those wizards are terrible at melee combat. So his life is slowly draining away. Let's see, yeah, they're not doing a whole lot of damage, so I'm gonna cast this spell. Oh, now, yeah, now the damage. Oh, there we go, 600 damage right there with that one blast. So we're just gonna stab him a little bit more times, and then we should be good. Come on.
The battle is won.
There we go. Victory.
The enemy servants of that pretender are driven from your castle. Victory!
Victory is our...
Castle Drakenhof is back in your hands, my unliving sire. Yet you have many enemies, both living and dead, who balk at the threat of a Von Carstein reigning from his ancestral stronghold. Much needs to be done. The Templehof brood control the lands to the north as far as the River Ster. Conflict with them is inevitable, but your will is indomitable. Take their lands, burn their crypts, and deploy their own dead against them. The high mountains to the south are infested with dwarfs. Your homelands will never be safe with such an enemy so close. Make plans to drive their stunted kind out in time. Greatness runs throughout the Von Carstein bloodline, my lord. Glory shall be yours, if you are ambitious enough to seize it.
Alright, we have been issued a mission. Engage the enemy! The Templehof brood must be crushed in battle before they're able to regain their strength. Another victory against von Kruger's armies will leave his hands ripe for the taking. Defeat an army belonging to the following faction in battle. Templehof.
What?
Alright. So we actually ended up restarting the game due to some issues with recording. So we kind of skipped the introduction, which is why this is going to be slightly different. I'm going to do a little bit of editing to make it all match up. But this actually allows you to choose specifically what you want to do. So you don't have to follow the tutorial or the introduction in this case to build the barrel to level 2, or choose a specific technology and all these other things. So since we did need to restart, just wanted to confirm some things. Let's see, campaign settings are still on very hard. And all the other things are basically the same. So I just wanted to confirm that since we did have to restart the recording session. So from here, we're going to choose our technology tree. We have 4 different paths. This first, the Book of Arkham, allows us to basically bolster our main ranks, like the Skeleton Warriors and other base units that we'll be getting a whole bunch of. So this might be useful if you were to bulk up your, these base units, and that'll be that. And then the Libor Necronomica. This one is more for the crypt ghouls and crypt horrors. So this is actually pretty good if you want to focus on that tree, like more like the graveyard horror units. And then this one over here, Denos Blasphemy Bestiary. This is for the direwolves, the fellbats, the Vargeist and the Terrorgeist. So like mostly your more elite units, with the exception of fellbats and direwolves. Vargulf and Vargeist are very useful. And the Terrorgeist, I believe, yep, is the maximum one there. That'll take 54 turns to get to. And if you were to say, and then the Lehmian Book of Blood is like getting more growth from your provinces, income from them, and also trying to keep the public order within reason, so that there's fewer rebellions. So what's nice is you don't have to actually just pick the Lehmian Book of Blood like we did in our first initial playthrough. You could actually select a little bit further. If you wanted to go through a certain tree, you can say, alright, I want the incantation of Nagash. It'll research everything that it needs to get there. But in our case, we only want to get to the baleful rituals, and maybe even this one. But to start, we're going to do baleful rituals. Some of the things that I would like to note that's a little different with this specific campaign, like compared to the Empire, is the Empire was more about, uniting your empire with all the humans, and trying to establish like a defensive force against the chaos. With the undead and the vampire counts, it's slightly different. So I played through enough of the campaign on normal to know that there's more quests for the vampire counts. So what that basically means is, our primary focus at the beginning, at least of this campaign, is really just to maybe conquer up until like this area: Stirland, Averland, Western Sylvania, Eastern Sylvania, and maybe even, oh yeah, definitely this settlement right here. But I think it's part of the Western Sylvania province, and kind of like establishing our foothold there and completing quests that Von Carstein has to go through across the various parts of the map, so that he can complete these quests to get like the secret powers of the vampires and hidden artifacts and all that stuff. So that's kind of what my focus will be in this campaign, is kind of trying to go through all of those quests, at least initially, and then focusing on expansion after that. Some other things I want to note is that we are now in the technico-strategic map. I believe that's what it's called. And some things that you want to note is that for each individual settlement, you'll have like these resources like gold, and only in this settlement can you build the building in order to mine this resource. So since we have gold, that's really good for us because that generates a lot of income. And then let's say we were to look at Eschen. We know that they have wine that they can export as trade. Although I think with vampires you can't really do trading, but if that's, if we can trade, that's great. If we can't, that's also, it is also whatever. But Waldenhof, you see that there's no extra item to generate income. So Templehof has logs. This Schwarzhaven has, I guess, weed. Pastures. But anyways, just some things to note if you were ever to go into the strategic overview map. And then, yep, and now we're just back on the campaign map. So we have the option of choosing kind of what we want to do. So we're gonna raise the dead here. Actually, I'll grab these zombies as well. So that'll reduce our income a little bit, but that's fine. Something I will also build definitely is the Tarnished Gold Shaft, which will generate the 500 gold, or in this case dark magic if it is when you're playing as a vampire counts. They basically just converted all of these bad berries to kind of to fit your faction. So we can now attack Deter the Stickler. And we're actually not going to auto-resolve. It's better to fight the initial battles yourself, so then you can kind of get the hang of the combat, but also so that you can focus on what unit gets less damage, and like yeah, and seeing what unit you want to maximize to their full extent by, you know, trying to get them to get more kills, to get more experience, and things of that nature. So also when you do auto resolve, it does kind of have everyone's health, not, or you know, whatever it is that they try to do. It's not exactly half, but it's definitely some penalty that I don't think is worth. So alright, let's start the battle. Alright, just finish the deployment and then start the battle. So now we're gonna march forward with our army. Some other things to note: you can toggle unit details. If you toggle it on whenever you highlight a unit, it'll show you kind of their stats and kind of what they're good against, what they're weak against, and things like that. So, you know, the Vargelf has poor leadership, but he can regenerate. He's very fast, does armor piercing damage. Mannfred Von Carstein, you know, he does things. But you can also view like your enemy units here, like the dire wolves. Alright, what are they weak against? They're weak against armor. Do we have any armor units? No, not really. Most of our units are undead with nothing on. So we can also see Deter the Stickler is a wizard. He's basically a vampire in this case with no nose. He is Voldemort. Yes, indeed, he is Voldemort. Alright, so right now we're just marching forward. We can actually fast forward this a little bit so that the battle can, you know, actually go a little faster. Because we don't really need to watch them march the entire time. That's why they created the fast forward button. So we don't have to wait the entire time. Alright, so we have these guys over here. So my idea is to really just try to surround the enemy. So we have a ton of zombies. So we'll have those guys come over. I'm gonna move these guys over here. So we're charging with our zombies first. They are expendable units, and they're great at absorbing charges, which is what they're gonna be doing here. So they take a charge from the dire wolves, which is great. So now I'm gonna gang up on them with my skeleton warriors and my fellbats. So they're sending in their zombies as well. They actually mostly have zombies in this case. Alright, so since we see the skeleton warriors here, I'm gonna charge in with my Vargo and Von Carstein. So what I can do, since these guys have all been engaged, I can run my units behind them so that they can do some extraordinary damage behind enemy lines. Let's see, my zombies are losing, but that's fine. We don't really care if they get crushed. That's why they are expendable. So I'm gonna have my army go directly behind their forces. So I can cast Spirit Mage on the enemy wizard. And And since I have magic, I'm going to, I guess, heal up those zombies that are getting crushed. So first we're going to flank the enemy skeletons. They're the most dangerous. And then we're going to flank these enemy zombies here. I mean, they're not doing a whole lot of damage with each other. So us flanking them with skeleton warriors should, in fact, just destroy any morale that they had left. I can also queue up the charges here, so that's what I'm doing with the units that have just finished defeating those guys. I'm gonna keep these guys over here. Looks like D tier, the stickler, is running away. Is he running? He actually is running away, okay. So he's running back. I'm gonna heal up these spell bats for the sake of healing them. And then here I'm going to engage with... I'm gonna have Mannfred engage with D-tier, the stickler. And I just happen to just whack all of my skeletons out of this world. Alright, so what does Spirit Leech actually do? It does direct damage. It doesn't tell you exactly how much damage, but it does direct damage to the enemy. And so now that we've defeated most of their forces there, in fact I think we defeated all of their forces here. Yep, we just defeated all of their forces. All the zombies crumbled to pieces. We only lost about 300 units in that encounter. And I think we also defeated, or we just crushed the stack, it seems like. Well, I guess he survived, and some direwolves made it out. So we've also ranked up as well. So you have 3 options at the beginning. You can return the captives, which I would never recommend, because well, you get some magic back, but I think the penalty for minus 5% casualty replenishment rate is not particularly worth it. Murder captives could be useful if you plan on attacking a whole bunch of dudes. In the next turn in your army just has low leadership. This might be useful. Like some of the more elite units, like I guess the Vargelfs don't have great leadership. I don't think they do anyways. But that might be another unit. But so they could provide a nice boon for your armies. I generally go with units replenished by whatever percent by dominating the captives. But I like to have a healthier army. Anyways, with that said, we have mission successful. We've completely defeated that army there.
Vulnerable to attack, Dark Lord. Seize it from the enemy to open a new front to the north.
Alright, so we managed to free up, or rather, we didn't do anything. We defeated one of their armies, so now Eschen is free for the taking. Von Carstein has leveled up. So he has multiple paths in his skill tree, more than pretty much anyone else in this game, as far as I know. Because he has the ability to follow the vampire tree. I forget what Spirit Leech is, Lore of Death and Lore of Vampires, which is basically necromancy in this case, because he can raise the dead and cast all these other cool spells, but mostly healing, I would say. Spirit Leech is more for generating damage, so you can cast like vortexes, which are pretty good against multiple units, but I would recommend not doing Spirit Leech as your first initial skill tree to start with. I think they're primarily better for fighting against Chaos, so Chaos are heavily armored units, or they have heavily armored units, so you know, casting this spell is very effective on their armies. But since you're, you know, fighting mostly vampires and empire armies, armor isn't as important in my humble opinion. But if your style is to kind of leave your leader in the back and you want boons for your armies, you know, Aura of Supremacy isn't a bad choice because it does grant additional attack to, like in this case, zombies, skeletons, and crypt ghouls, but also other units as you level up. You can pick different types for grave guards and cryptors. These are pretty good ones. But I think to start, at least for me, I want to be able to heal my armies. So Invocation of Nahak is actually very good for that. And also, whenever you cast a spell, you know, you can grant healing and resurrecting dead combatants. And you can also just spawn a bunch of zombies. So I mean, I think this is probably the best to start. But if you want something more melee based, like more hardy heroes, you know, the Hunger is great for that. You know, you can make him a superhero, just does massive amounts of damage. That's also not a bad tree to go for, but I mean, it really depends on your style in this case. This last tree I didn't really talk about allows you to, it's mostly for campaign map effects, so if you want more movement range, this is actually pretty good. Like, just getting the Restless Dead is pretty good. And then these other ones, you know, whatever you feel like you want to do, it really depends on what it is that you want. Alright, so we're gonna do something slightly different with this campaign. We're gonna try to make it so that there's at least one battle in each of these videos, and we're gonna try, and I think also this, we're gonna be going through a lot of turns, so there might be a lot of cutting out of kind of like the more boring parts. I think that would be the right thing to do here, just because we're gonna be just ending turn and just waiting for things to happen. At least that's what I think how it's gonna go. So just, you know, forewarning. We're gonna try to do a lot more editing in this campaign to make it a little bit easier to digest. Alright, do I need that many zombies? Probably not. So let's do 15. And then now, actually, I'll get the additional zombies because we're gonna be besieging. We're gonna be luring out Castle Templehof with this battle right here. So this battle is significant in one way. And the most significant is that it's drawing out the defenders of Castle Templehof so that we don't have to siege. And by doing that, once we defeat these armies, we can just take the castle without, you know, scaling the walls or anything like that. That's why I opted to actually just get all the units that we could possibly muster for this battle. So these first like 5 turns, I would say, is probably the most important turns of the entire campaign. This will establish a good foothold for you. Oh man, we lost magic, but it doesn't really matter. So we don't actually need to worry a whole lot about the enemy army in front of us. So because of that, because of how little we care about them, some things to note as well. There's only the hero and the dire wolves, and they can't do a whole lot of damage to us, even if they flanked us. But as a safeguard, I will leave, you know, those guys, those zombies in the back to watch our backs, and then we'll have these bad ladies over here, our Virgo over here, and then these guys over here. So we'll start the battle. Ronald is not with us, unfortunately. So, alright, enemy has approached. We're gonna charge in there immediately, because that's how we roll, baby. That's how we roll. We're not gonna give them a chance to really come in. Alright. So in this case, we can just hit them hard right at the get-go. And then we're gonna send in that guy over there. It looks like their Fellbats are gonna chase after my hero unit. That's perfectly fine. Alright. Vargelf is doing massive amounts of damage in the front lines over there. Let's see. Those Fellbats aren't doing a whole lot of damage, so I'm not too worried about them. Let's see. These guys are getting crushed, so I'm gonna heal them up a little bit. We have plenty of magic in our power reserve, so I'm actually going to gather some of that into my pool.
Serve me.
Let's see, another thing is I'm going to send Von Carstein in there so that he can do some damage. Also, I'm going to cast Spirit Leech on the wizard to, you know, get him out of our sight, hopefully. So by leaving our zombies back here, we're able to kind of hold off these dire wolves. Not that it really mattered in any case. Enemy Fellbats are getting crushed by most of our units there. So it looks like all of their reinforcements came from this one side, so that's actually really good.
We surpass the gas.
Some things you want to note while you're fighting this battle is making sure that you know, majority of your units are healthy, especially your elite units. Zombies, they can be important here if you need them to hold down some flanks or whatever it is. They'll hold the line, really. In this case, they need to hold the line over here. Okay, I don't know what... yeah, whatever. So the Fellbats are kind of just killing each other. We lost all of our Fellbats to just the sheer number of theirs. We could have landed and had them bring the combat to them, but we didn't really care for that, so that is whatever it is.
These lands are mine. Preternatural.
Alright, so that I don't lose Von Carstein, I'm going to heal him with Invocation. That's important. And I'm going to Spirit Leech on the enemy wizard. I'm going to cast Master of the Black Arts again and get some more power from that. Alright, so we're going to flank our good enemies zombies over there. And then from there we're going to... okay, maybe not. I'm going to try and run them in from behind so that we can just cause mass panic with our flanking maneuver. With these guys right here. Well, I guess what we can do is we can just slowly crush them. If we finish off the left flank, we can just continue to keep going forward. Alright, so it looks like they have Z-Leg Van Kruger. He's gonna take another shot on my Spirit Leech, and hopefully he will die from that attack. Alright, so these guys are crumbling because we managed to flank them in the back. Kill the enemy lord here. Our Vargulf is doing insane amounts of damage as we are, you know, holding off the right flank here. Alright, so get some more Black Arts magic. We are kind of alone. Yet we are. That is not good. Let's get Von Carstein with the rest of the army. We should be able to just kind of break the enemy over here. See, I'm gonna bring these guys over here. I'm gonna heal up my zombies over here. My Crypt Ghouls are getting crushed, but mainly because these guys aren't charging in. So once they charge in, I think they'll be good. I'll pull these guys off the line, and then get them in there. Move them forward so we can actually surround the enemy fully. Alright. I'm gonna keep pushing in. Cast Master of Black Arts. Maybe we can get some additional power there. So we defeat all of their heroes. We kind of messed this up, I think. Oh, maybe not. I thought we completely lost the left flank, but it looks like combat is even enough for them to potentially win that. Our Vargulf is not doing too great. Oh, he does have poor leadership. Okay, so I wasn't wrong. So what that means is that he's gonna start losing health whenever, you know, he panics and whatnot. So that's why it's not good to have poor leadership for this guy. But if we can improve that throughout the campaign, we should be a-okay. Anyways, with that being said, I am going to heal up these skeleton warriors once again, so that they can provide more attacking power for this force. Let's see, so what's great about skeleton spearmen is that they have a lot of melee defense, so them holding this left flank is actually really good for us because they don't do a whole lot of damage, but they have 30 melee defense, which is way better than all of my other units at the moment. I mean, the Vargolf has 36, but you know, he's only one unit. He can only do so much. As you can see here, he's not doing a whole lot. Well, actually, no, I guess he is too. He's disrupting their formation.
Empower me.
Von Carstein is completely bloodied up. Look at it. Look at his bald head. It's just full of blood. So, looks like we just managed to completely rout their army. There we go. We just needed to try and rout a few additional units before the mass rout started. And once they started routing, you know, they just crumble into dust. Alright, so we killed everyone with the exception of, I guess, Zelig. And, you know, in this case, we'll just get the monies. Let's see. He shouldn't have any additional units now to defend the castle. Okay, so there's a few. Unfortunately, we do have to siege this, but I think we should be okay on that front. And then, since that army is currently what is it called? Predisposed, I am going to get this Gunther von Dell. And he is going to recruit an army of skeletons for me. And as a shout out, I'm gonna call this guy Winston Von Chew. Shoutouts to you, W. Chew. So now you are in 2 series, and there will be a few additional shoutouts here as well as I get additional lords and heroes.
Wipe them out.
Thank you for being a long-time subscriber. And also, I keep forgetting, I wanted to rename this Vargolf to Justice so that he can be my Hammer of Justice. Alright. So, with that being said, alright, so we now have a full army of the dead here. They're going to send Winston Von Chew to take Eschen.
Wipe them out.
And we can just auto-resolve this. There's no real reason to fight this battle. We have 6 skeleton warriors take this settlement. Alright, so he has leveled up. And so we have several options here. You can loot and occupy, you can sack it, you can raise it, you can occupy it. I think there's not a whole lot of money or loot to be gained, so we're just going to occupy the settlement for the maximum benefit for public order.
Is spread by your conquests, mighty lord. Your realm grows, and more distant lands now fall under your gaze. The Empire and other kingdoms of men lie to the north and west. There you may feast, for the living are plentiful.
Alright, so Sylvania has resurrected. Since Count Mannfred's unfortunate defeat at Helfen, Sylvania has been in decline. No longer is it feared as the dread land where the dead do not rest, but instead is seen as Sterling's bastard child. Now Von Carstein resides in Castle Drakenhof once again. It is time for the vampires to take dominion over their haunted realm. So, in order to complete this, we just need to occupy, loot, raise, or sack 2 different settlements. So us taking
coming in of a living expeditionary force close to your territory, my lord. Such a threat cannot be tolerated. Show them that you are master of these lands once again.
Alright, so we've been issued a quest as well. The Battle of Helfen. An expeditionary force of soldiers have been sighted at Helfen. The Empire will regret deploying troops this far from home. The vampire counts must crush their army, drive the terrified survivors from your lands, and raise their dead into your service. So win the following battle, which is this quest battle, and we'll get a necromancer and also a gold sigil sword. So you can also view how strong the Osterland expedition is by clicking on that. Alright, so some things we want to talk about. Some very important things that you definitely need to know here is that, alright, so now we have a cemetery in both our settlements, in the provincial capital, Castle Drakenhof, and in Eschen. So we only need one, and we're going to delete the one in Castle Drakenhof, mainly because you don't need to build anything that's below tier 4 in the provincial capital. Generally, you want something that is, let me just pull up the building browser. Generally, you want anything that can be built up to tier 4. Wait, yes, up to tier 4, which is this row right here. It doesn't say it right here, but if I were to click right here, tier 4, it'll show you what buildings you can build. So there's only 5 slots that you can build in. So sometimes you want to be careful of not building like the cemetery in the provincial capital if you don't absolutely need to, or for strategic reasons you want to keep it there. So in this case, we want to, if we were going to build, a military building, it would be the defiled cairn, so that we can get hex wraiths, and the White King would build the vampire crypts. But I mean, you guys kind of understand what I'm getting at here. Basically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be what I would have to build in Castle Drakenhof. But in this case, we don't actually need to do that because we can put this in a separate building, in a separate capital. So instead of that, we're building this guy right here because we can only build the golden mine shaft in Drakenhof. But in Eschen, we have all these options, and we probably would not want to build anything that has an X on it because we can't max it up to that tier. So in this case, we're going to leave the cemetery in Eschen. So hopefully that explains the reasoning behind destroying this and moving forward. And we're going to upgrade this to a corrupted village because, why not?
Obliterate.
Alright, so here we're going to recruit. We have a lot of zombies in our garbage army.
Raise them.
Let's see. We can auto-resolve this, but for the sake of showing you how Castle Drakenhof looks, we'll fight this battle specifically really just for the look. We just want to see how beautiful the architecture is, because it's a very likely chance that we'll never besiege this castle ever again. I mean, it's very unlikely that an enemy army will besiege this castle while we're in there. I mean, there's a chance, but I don't suspect it happening. Anyway, some things to do is, not do that. Also, not towers, what is it called? Yes, fort towers are incredibly overpowered. They actually have infinite range. As long as they have line of sight, they can shoot your units, so that's something to be careful of, which I think is kind of BS. so these 3 units, we're just gonna charge in with whatever healthy units that we have. Alright, we'll start the battle. We just wanted to see how pretty this castle is. We can actually just claw our way in to the gate. So that's pretty cool. There's only a few units that they have that... Well, they've only taken 2 towers? No, yes, 2 towers. So we don't have to really worry about them killing all of our units. Alright, so as you can see here, the castle is a little bit unique from the tutorial battle. This one is in a corner, so you can actually attack from 2 sides, from 2 different gates. Not a lot of castles are like this. Most of them are just usually a single wall with either 1 or 2 gates. So Castle Templehof is a little different. We're also going to be using our Vargelf to do damage to this gate, so that's an excellent use of your monster units. But I think any unit can attack the gates in this game. And we're also going to kind of see the zombies pop out of the siege tower, because why not? It's probably gonna look really cool. Oh yeah, look at them go. Look at them jump off that little gate. Oh, there we go. And now the zombie horde invades. Those poor skeleton spearmen, they don't stand a chance. Look at us go. They're sending their little zombies out to fight us, but we know that us jumping out of a siege tower gives us a bonus. A bonus of style points. We also have skeleton warriors coming up. They're gonna climb up the good old ladders that came out of nowhere. Von Carstein had his own. So, some things I can do here to bolster my forces, I guess, would be to heal up some of these zombies, maybe? Yeah, sure, why not? Okay, I didn't cast it. I'll cast it on myself.
Serve me.
So I can heal and save it up for the next battle. Alright, so since we're on the walls, we've captured the siege tower. We've broken the gates, but we're just kind of standing in there. Now I'm gonna send in my Vargelf, my Justice, my Hammer of Justice. He's gonna go in and attack these spearmen. Oh, looks like they have a hero somewhere. I'll bet I don't know where.
These lands are mine.
Let's see. I'm gonna heal myself again. I'm gonna heal someone. You know what? I'm gonna heal my Vargelf. That seems like a good thing to do. And then we're gonna crush these enemy spearmen. Ah, I see the enemy hero now. Zelig Van Kruger. This enemy will fall. Alright. So we'll give him a swift death. Now that we've completely dispersed of his army. I'm surprised he's still alive. It would be nice. Horses. Look at us go. Get some more magic. Send my guy over there. These skeleton warriors can take care of the enemy. Skeleton spearmen. Von Carstein is needed elsewhere. I can heal myself. healing yourself during battle, especially in like these kind of insignificant battles, is good if you want to like just heal up your units, you know, speed it up a little bit. So just some of the extra strategies that you might find helpful in your own campaigns if you decide to play one. And so let's see, over here we cast Spirit Leech. Should do a decent amount of damage on this guy. And now he is exhausted. I can't handle this many units. Heal up these skeleton warriors. Some things to note, you'll notice that there's like these little bars on each individual unit. That's the maximum that you can heal them for, so you can't really exploit it. But you can exploit it for, let's say, you know, units that are like monsters, like the Warrior, your heroes that need healing. That's what I generally use it for, is the, like, you know, like your more elite units. Alright, so we've leveled up. We've destroyed the enemy. We can loot and occupy. Now the thing is, you could potentially loot and occupy this specific settlement because penalty is only for 1 turn. And since this is the only settlement that I will have for this 1 turn, it's totally worth looting and occupying, in my humble opinion. It's not a whole lot of loot, but I think every bit helps at the beginning. And also, since there hasn't been a whole lot of public order to begin with, you know, I think it's okay. Alright, so in this case, we should probably build the Forester Shack, which will bolster our income. So the first thing I'm going to do is raise the dead, which will allow us to raise additional zombies. And then we'll have to hang out in this settlement. And then Winston Von Chu, I'll have him get the hunger. He's going to be more of a fighter hero. And from there, there's not a whole lot we can do. But it also looks like we're out of time here. So I'd like to thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you next time.